I'm going to give room for question and answer as well. Okay, so today's class is on grow your personal power with Quantum Leap Human Design. Woohoo! Greetings. Okay, greetings everyone. There are 3 modules I'm going to cover. Okay, the first one would be on what is personal power, right? What do you need it for? How do you use it? What does it do? Where does it come from? Right? Why do you need it? Does it grow? All of that. I'll cover that. And then module 2 will be about what stops the flow of power. You are a powerful being, but what stops the flow of power? Why do people feel powerless? Why do they feel, right, like they don't have control, right, over realities? I'll share that. And then how do you take control? Okay. Number 3 would then be, how do you recover your power? How do you take control? Personal responsibility. Okay. So that's the format. 3, what's personal power? What does it do? Why do you need it? 2, what stops it? Where is there a deficit? Some form of people feeling like, right? And then 3 is, how do you recover your power? What's actionable steps can you take to grow your power? Okay. So my students you guys are familiar with this slide. Okay. So we've covered several template slides. You have workbooks, all of that. So this slide is just also calling out this dimension, the 3 dimensions, okay, that humans have with it, right? Is that you have a spirit, you have a soul, you have a body, and the laws that govern the different dimensions that you occupy or you live in, how those dimensions function is distinct, it's unique, and part of your journey is to learn, right? It's like if you want to drive a car, you need to learn how to drive a car. Like, one of the important things about life is continuous learning. You came into this world ready to learn. ABCD 1, 2, 3 is that consciousness, the concept of consciousness is stepping into knowledge, illumination, enlightenment, right? Is that if you're not illuminated, if you don't have knowledge in a domain, in a field in which you want to drive impact, you cannot navigate that space successfully. Okay? So even there's a spiritual side of how you navigate life. It is with knowledge, wisdom, information, direction that you learn how to move through life to arrive at your destination. So if you want to go, right, like you are a being that is powerful, you're a being that is free spiritually, okay? You are a being that pack power, right? But in order to know what to do with power, in order not to get stuck, you seek direction, you seek knowledge, you seek guidance to arrive where you want to arrive. That's success. Success is arriving where you want to arrive in a positive way, where you are happy with the outcomes. You invest your time, your energy to achieve a goal. If you achieve the goals that you have, that means you are successful. So if you want to embark on a journey, right, and you know your destination, you have clarity, you know what you want, you have clarity, you have desire, and you believe you can get yourself there. Well, one of the things that elevates belief is knowledge. And so in order to go to a place you've never been before, to do things you've never done before, to achieve what you've never achieved before, what helps humans achieve success is knowledge of a domain, enlightenment on how that domain functions, right? Gathering information about how things work in a specific space in which you want to achieve success. You need to acquire the knowledge of how things work in that domain for you to be able to achieve success in that domain. So each domain, each field of knowledge, okay, functions a certain way, if you don't know how it functions, right, you cannot just step into a domain with ignorance and assumptions. Well, you're going to stumble. You're going to need to still find your way. Either somebody shows you or you do trial and error. The concept of research, innovation, is learning a new way of achieving something in a domain, and you're going to need to attempt it over and over and over again. Why am I sharing that? Is that the fifth dimension, your power moves in the direction of the knowledge you have at your disposal. Your power grows. The more you achieve success, more power is released to you. So the more knowledge you have, when they say knowledge is power, actually, knowledge releases power. Knowledge is a key that allows you to unlock more power. So as example, children can be given more responsibility as they grow older, simply because you know they can handle that responsibility. They know what to do in a way that they will be successful. Right? So children are allowed to expand the space in which they explore. Safety, right? When children are small, you put them in small spaces. When you feel that they know more, guess what? You expand their field where they can go. The older they get, the more expansion. So power expands with more knowledge. When you know more things, you have more power. And so what do you need power to do? You need power. When your power flows, you produce energy. So that is a physics equation, right? Is that in electrical circuits, in systems that is loaded with power, right? The movement of power produces energy, a force, energy in time. The more powerful the system is, the more energy can be consumed, can be extracted from that system. Okay? The more power the system has, the more energy it can release, the more energy that can be extracted. So for example, when I say release, is that think of two sides of you. You can use your will, your own will, what you want. You can release power. But other people you're in relationship with too can withdraw power. Two ways. You can flow it out, or people can, right, request. So power can be flowing, but the energy can be potential. If you want it to light, if your light bulb, you consume, when you want to consume the energy flowing from power, when you want to use it, you extract, you use it, you light, and then the use of power is that in systems, power is used to produce different kinds of results. You can convert power to different types of energy: kinetic energy, chemical energy, right? Right? Is that power produces energy, but the states of energy, right? You can use energy, can be stored in different form. You are living in an energetic world. When you eat food, as example, you're extracting the energy from the food. It's stored inside you. Okay? Calories. When you want to take action, you consume the energy. Locomotion, right? Movement. Energy is the ability to do work. When work needs to be done, energy is consumed to do that work. And you can do different types of work. Right? So different types of energy can be used to do different kinds of work. But all of the work that needs to be done requires energy to produce it. So come back to the human system, is that your power source lies in your spirit. You are also connected to an unlimited source of power. So one of the things you need to also know is that the more you consume, the more is replenished. I want to give examples. let's say your house, okay? You're connected to the grid. You pay for what you use, right? When you consume, you are connected to a source of power that promises you whenever you need it, it's available. When you turn on the switch, so your house is wired, so you are consuming power, you're using it. Not everybody's house is wired to the same energy, consumes the same energy. So if you're a high-rise skyscraper versus if you live in a family, right, is that the consumption rate of, right, energy is unique to the type of work consumption level that each building extracts from the power source. The same source can be resourcing different types of people, but your consumption, the work you are doing upon the earth, the impact you are driving upon the earth, the things that you are doing upon the earth, how you are using power. Yes, it is use it and you get more. It is use it and you get more. You don't use it, it stays there. So if you travel and you leave it unused, well, that means you did not consume power while you were traveling. Yes, but when people are using, when people are active, when you are active, when you are energetic, it means you are consuming more power than people who are not active. If you are running and jogging constantly, that means you are a consumer of, you are using up energy, and it's being replenished daily. The more you use, the more you get. And also in the physical form, you eat more food. That's why you continue to resource your body with food constantly. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, right? Is that your body uses energy at the cellular layer, muscular layer, for all of the activities. And so you continue to resource yourself with physical food. Also, spiritually, you are connected to the power grid. The more action you take, the more thinking you do, the more creativity you, right, is that you are consuming a power source more than an average person. And those who do not consume power, right, in a way, the energy is supposed to be flowing anyway. You are a vessel that flows energy. And so a lot of times when energy is static, or it's like water, if the river is not flowing, it gets funky. It gets funky. People who sit still, who are not constantly in motion, doing something creative, productive, is that you just have to move your body. You have to do something. If you are a being that your energy needs to be in motion, emotion, energy in motion. So power comes from your spirit, but you are connected to a grid that is unlimited, but you are the one to withdraw power based on use, what you want to produce, the work you want to do, the abilities you want to develop, the impact you want to drive, right? And so power is a force that you release, right? And you drive it with your will based on what you want to see, what you want to produce, who you want to become in the natural. It's also based on the impact you want to drive. It also drives behavior. How you behave is also influenced by the power you pack. Also, it decides your attraction, electromagnetism, right? Your emotions, your feelings, your electromagnetism, what you can attract, what you can create, what you can produce is based on the power you pack, and then how you're using the energy that is flowing with intentionality, with wisdom, right? So you're a powerful being, okay? And you are connected to a source, God. You can draw on more power based on intentionality, creativity, what you want to create and drive. But if you don't have clarity, if you don't have okay, let me put this. I know we're going to cover what stops the power from flowing. If you don't take time to gain clarity on what you want to produce, it doesn't flow. Or it may be flowing in directions you didn't intend because of programming. Because Internal programming is when you allocate your energy to the work you want to do. Okay? So power is flowing, but you have to direct the flow of power. It's like the power grid. The power grid needs to be wired and directed, sent in a direction to arrive at a destination so that it can do specific work, right, and achieve specific results. If the wiring is crisscrossed, wrong electrician, right, it can stop flowing, or it can spark. So internal programming, your beliefs, your thoughts, your conclusions, your stories, the energy you pack, is how you instruct your power on what it should do for you. The flow, the line, how you're going to program yourself towards achieving a goal. How you think, what you believe, the stories you are carrying inside you. That's your internal programming. That is what directs your power. That's what tells your power what you want it to produce. And if you're not doing it consciously, listen, you are also in a system and in a world that there is no vacuum. When you were a baby, it was done for you. You were programmed for you. Even the name, your name, when you showed up, somebody programmed you and said, this is your name. And so you have an identity that vibrates whenever that name. You were programmed with a name. Your energy was programmed to respond to a name. You showed up as a baby. Every created being is energetic. Yes? So you showed up as a vibrational, energetic, spiritual being into the third dimension world. Well, the third dimension started programming you before you awoken spiritually. They gave you a name. They started teaching you ABCD, meaning they started giving you the knowledge of how the third dimension works. The people who came before you started telling you what you need to know, right? To function proper, right? You needed, when you arrive, right? You need to know how third dimension works. And so when you are born, they start teaching you how to work, how to eat, how to do, right? So you are learning, you are gathering knowledge. You are here to gather knowledge on how things work so you can work it. You also need to know how you work. When we say self-awareness, self-mastery, you need to know how you are wired and how you are designed, because there are many things inside people. They may not know what is inside them. You're carrying DNA. You're carrying vibrational frequencies, emotions, feelings, right? You're packing energy, you're packing knowledge. How did it get there? And then the ones you keep loading on, scrolling, skipping, is it intentional or pre-programming from culture? Culture is telling you who to be, what is expected of you in relation to, you also relate to certain systems of the world, banking system, school system, that system, right? Systems and structures established by others. You have to learn how those systems work if you want to work it, if you want to participate. So you're constantly going to be acquiring knowledge in order to be able to participate, right? With systems, with people. And you too, you carry systems. Digestive system, right? They'll teach you what food, balanced diet, this food is good, this one, right? So even how you function, you need knowledge on how you're being, how you function. So this program takes you into another dimension, the spiritual side, and how it connects with science of spirituality. So this concept of personal power is based on your own internal systems, okay? The power you pack based on the knowledge you have and your consciousness and the wisdom, right? You possess within you to consciously use your own power to produce the results you desire for yourself in a way that helps you be successful. Because you need knowledge to even do that. Because if you are in an environment that hasn't taught you how to be successful, right? Many people went to school. School taught you how to be successful at getting a job, how to be successful at acquiring specific skills. So they will ask you, who do you want to become? Before they start programming you, they will ask you, listen, we have different kinds of programming. Engineering programming, accounting programming, aeronautics programming. Do you want to be programmed this way, programmed this way, programmed so that I can function, so that we can train your energy and load it up with specific information, because that information and that energy will now drive the transformation and impact you can have. If you study engineering, we will call you an engineer. Law, lawyer. So everybody is trained, programmed, but they say choose. So your choices, when you now enter the systems of learning, they'll start now giving you, okay, what do you need to know? Buy this book, buy this book, buy this book, take this class, right? So they set up a learning process, a learning ladder of consciousness in the domain you picked, so that you can be functional, so that you can have the knowledge and power to produce results in that space. So what then happens is that when people have been trained to function in a capacity, and suddenly they have new desires. Remember, if you've gone to a school and you have degrees, remember your degree is based on old desire. Desire you had 30, 40 years ago. When did you choose to become an engineer? Probably when you were a teenager going into school. So it was a desire activated in you years ago. Now it is fulfilled. You became an engineer. Now you have the job. Now, so it was a desire activated how many years ago? Whenever you want to go in a new direction, you have to activate a new desire. And how many years did you invest to becoming an engineer? Now you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to be a wealth builder. Some people just wake up in the morning and say, oh, tomorrow they are this. No, it doesn't work that way. Have you been activated? Have you loaded yourself with knowledge? Have you developed abilities? Right? Because your power will produce energy, and the energy has to be trained, activated with beliefs, with new information. The right information. Because the wrong information misdirects people. It's like the cross-wiring of the electrical grid. If you send your energy, you wanted to go this way, you send it off. You didn't focus, right, intentionally to direct your energy in the right direction. Because that's the power of focus. Whatever you focus on, that's where your energy is flowing. Okay? Whatever you choose and you focus on, that's your energy is lifting up information in that domain, and you are programming yourself with whatever you're focusing on. Whoever you're focusing on, whatever you're focusing on, your energy will lift the information, and you are training yourself. If you read a book, how does the words of the book lift up and go into your system? All you have to do is focus on a book, the words. You've been trained. Once you read it, you know it. It goes into your system. You close your eyes, now it's in your system. So you are always seeking information, knowledge, through observation, through reading, through interaction. Yes, you take in knowledge. When you take in, because your system always takes in, you internalize. You internalize your desire. When you see what you need outside, you internalize, you bring it in. Right? Your system lifts information, you observe, right? And then you take it in. Now, when the information gets into you, you will have to give it interpretation and meaning. Right? Because interpretation and meaning is now internal programming on how you're going to use that information. So those are activities happening inside you. So the information now has to be personalized. Because 30 people can be in my class. You teach the same thing. Internalization is when you give interpretation and meaning to the information presented before you. And that is in your own context. It's in your own history. It's in your past programming, right? Is that how people use knowledge and information, right? Is unique to their own self-program. Okay? So behavior is influenced by your power, attraction, and then also the energetic vibration goes through different stages, right? There is when I say science of life, there's physics, there's chemistry, there's biology, all in you. There's light frequency in the spiritual side. right? So when energies collide, okay, what do I mean? Power released, when it's released for different reasons, energy is flowing in time, but you can mix, right? When energetic vibrations are fused, when people connect, when they interact, this is the concept of, when you observe it, this is the concept of chemistry. It produces chemistry. When energy changes states, what makes energy changes state and produce a new substance, a new energetic substance with atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, all of those things, is that energy can change states, right? Kinetic energy, right? When you even look at a car, a system, well, you have the gas tank, you have locomotion, like it's that emotion is energy in motion. The energy that produces motion inside you, okay, comes from a chemical reaction, okay, that is flowing from the instruction you're giving to your system. Okay, let me take that slow. Like, emotion is energy in motion. The energy that moves you to take action. Whenever you need to take action, whenever your body needs to move or shift direction or do things, energy needs to flow in your system that moves you forward. And that energy is fed into your cells for motion, that drives locomotion, that drives movement. Okay? Energy must be in motion for you to take action in a direction. But the instruction that gives you direction comes from you, your thoughts, your pre-programming, your past activities can be used to direct your future activities. Your new decisions can be used to manifest, right, a new reality. Yes, you are the driver of your own behavior through your thoughts, through your beliefs, and many of it can be pre-programmed. You can train, right? Alexa, presettings. When I come in, turn on the lights. This, right? You can train your system on how it should respond to specific life realities. And then your body takes on that programming and responds or reacts based on that pre-program. So when you come into this world, you are pre-programmed. This is how you eat. This is how you do this. Once you are trained, your body knows, right? It now has cellular memory, muscular memory. Your central nervous system has your electrical charge. So your central nervous system is also programmed with feelings. When you say feelings, they are the charge of your nerves. You feel the energetic vibrations of the world inside you and the world outside you. You feel it. And feelings and emotions work hand in hand, because feeling is connected to your internal programming, your beliefs, what you want to do, what you want to produce, who you want to be. You feel it. And basically, your feelings then has, effect, okay, on your endocrine system, that then produce these chemistries that flood your bloodstream, that then sends chemical messages down to your cells. So you can see the electrical side, you can see the chemical side, hormones, chemical messages, right? Loaded with energy, they're energetic. And so the type of feeling you're having will drive the type of emotions you produce. Emotions are the physical, right, manifestation of your internal realities. You are the one, your system is the one producing your own emotions and feelings. And part of this programming and the classes is, how do you get to a point where you can take more, should I say control? That's where self-control, right? You can take more charge over your feelings and emotions when you realize that your feelings and emotions, they're the ones driving you, driving results, attracting things to you, producing results. It is with feelings and emotions you actually create reality. When you attach emotions to certain realities, certain stories, you produce it. So even manifestation is connected with feelings and emotions. When you have desires and you believe, when it is manifested, you feel it, you emote it, you become it. And so even to speed up manifestation, you can travel into the future by activating the future feelings of your emotions that you wish to create in the future. And then you draw the future into the moment. Right? When you want to let go of the past, you detach from the past and you attach to a desired future. This concept in the fourth dimension is that your past, present, and desired future exist in the quantum, inner quantum, fourth dimension. And the power to choose in now what you want to feel, what type of emotion you want to experience, is you shifting your energetic state into a new story you have manifested, and then that story becomes what you create in reality and what you also invite others to co-create with you. Right? The story, the movie you are producing, you can have actors, supporters, right? You know, this concept of main character elements. You want to be the main character in your own movie, but other people can be supporting cast members. Also, in other people's movies, meaning other people's reality, other people's experiences, they can be main character and then recruit you, conscious, right? Intentionally or not, they can recruit you and say, I want you to help me produce this reality. So these transactions, when I talk about spiritual, my students know, when I talk about spiritual transactions, energetic transactions, many people are not conscious about what's going on energetically in their fourth dimension, right? And I'll move into the module 2 now, because it's going to show up there. Is that when people are not aware of the fifth and fourth dimension, and they are not intentionally managing what's going on within them, the tendency is that people tend to look outward or blame other people constantly about what's going on within them. Yes, other people have impact, right? But do they have control? Who's got control over your system is different from who is triggering you, impacting you, other people's choices, the effect they might have on you, right? They can influence you, but who is in control? Is that when people don't learn self-control, they've given their power away. So let's move on to the second one, looking at time.